Alright, hey guys, today we're going to discuss the best deck you could theoretically make in Master Duel. So, first off, what is the best strategy for going first? So, the best strategy for going first, actually, is straight up just FTK. So, yeah, you just kill your opponent and they don't have a chance to do anything. If they hand trap you, then just if you play through it and then FTK them, now what? Nothing, that's right. You got Raigeki in hand, Deck Ruler no more, Forbidden Droplet, it does nothing. You're dead, you lost the duel. That's probably the best thing you could do for turn 1, I guess. Because, like, endboard wise, a lot of endboards just end up losing to, like, Dark Ruler no more or Droplet anyways, or require a lot of setup or investment, and then that will end up weakening your going second, which makes it not that great in a sense, because if you lose the coin flip, you'll also just lose. And you could say the same about an FTK, but like, let's just say, for example, if, like, well, yeah, if, for example, Dinos only required one or two cards to do the Bush Balkan FTK, if that were the case, Dinos actually are a very, very insane going second deck, and they can go first pretty well, like pretty good as well. So let's just assume if they could actually FTK consistently with like one or two cards and do the Bish Balkan FTK, and then like destroy you going second, then honestly, Dinosaurs in that case would be like one of the best decks, just straight up, just hands down, right? And for that, let's see. If you get hit with dinos, you just get cooked, I guess, going first or second. And theoretically, the best deck obviously would need to be able to play going first and second. Even if you win 100% of the games you go first, losing every single game you go second is clearly not ideal or optimal. But then, about going second, there's a lot of things to consider actually. So for example, hand traps are very strong, right? But then for going second, you have to deal with a bunch of things. You have to deal with your opponent's end board or stop the setup of their end board. If they are going for an end board, of course, they could be trying to FTK you, of course. So if you don't have a hand trap and they just set up FTK on you, you just lose, obviously. But like, if your opponent's playing heavy back row, doing a bit of the runic stun, then in that case you would also lose because you don't have enough like removal. But in terms of removal, this is probably the best removal going second in the game, evenly matched. This can just remove like pretty much your opponent's entire field except for one card and banish the rest face down. Bashing face down is completely insane. There's nothing that like can deal with banish face down that well. There is just like Cyframe Omega, I believe, right? And then there is like I believe this was the name of the card, was it not? Oh yeah, Virtual World Teammate Nyan. Whatever. So these are the only two cards I know that can get stuff banished face down back to your like graveyard or deck or whatever. Because it has to specifically mention like banish cards, or I guess there's Necroface as well. But if it says anything like banish monster, it won't work on banish face down cards, and they're just gone, which is pretty rough. And that also avoids like certain cards that have timings, like when they're banished or whatever. And like, if they have a token on their end board, for example, it's kind of interesting, but if you evenly matched someone with a token, tokens can't be banished face down, so they have to leave that token. But actually, what is the ruling if your opponent controls two tokens? Nah, I won't think about it. But anyways, dinos either way are really good going second. So what they can do really well actually is they have the usage of Misk for going first and Misk for going second, or Misk for turn 2, I guess, if that comes up. But what Misk does is it just makes all of your dinosaur monsters towers, basically. They are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. And that extends to all dinosaurs, so that is actually fairly brutal. Like, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno just being unaffected, and just Demon rolling you or whatever. And they are going to release new Dino support in the future. It'll be quite a while before it comes to Master Duel, but I believe they have like they're getting a Dinosaur Omni Negate in the future, but it'll be pretty far in the future. I don't remember what it was exactly. It was an XYZ that was ranked 5 or 6, so Dinosaur players can look forward to that, I suppose. And getting back on track. So Dinos actually also have inherently decent ways to deal with some hand traps. With Lost World, for example. Lost World being able to a special summon, well, a token here, and that disables myriad of things like evenly matched as well. But that's just me getting a little distracted. You also can't crash the token, I guess, but let's see. Got a little distracted there. So basically, in theory, your deck has to be able to play first and second really well to be able to, I guess, be considered the best deck. So a deck like Sprite would be laughable, in my opinion. So the only reason Sprite is like this good in Master Duel right now, and a lot of people are playing it, in my opinion, is just straight up because they banned the stuff that's just outclasses it by miles, to the point where it's just uncontested. Like, I guess it's not as contested because, like, if you put Rights and Water Enchantress to 3, yet I don't think people would be thinking like Sprite's the best deck anymore after that, for a variety of reasons. But there's also, for example, how Emergency Teleport is only at 2, which is also semi-relevant. But it's honestly a good thing this is at 2. Like, this just special summons a level 3 or lower Psychic monster from your hand or deck as a quick effect, or quick play spell. So it's spell speed 2, no hard ones per turn. Brutal. Anyway, distracted again for a little bit. Okay, so Hulk Dawn, for example, is banned right now, so sad. Well, Hulk is banned specifically, so that holds a bunch of a slew of strategies are just down the drain right now. Can't really deal with that, and also tiers have not come out yet. It should be not too long though. I wonder how many more selections they'll put it off. Because whenever we already got a Shizu, so whenever they drop tier, if they just drop half the package, it might not be as bad. Like, I guess, but Ishizu tier is like instantly playable when tier drops. So got distracted again. But the best deck, yeah, can play going first and second. So well, in theory anyways. So if we have just, well, we will need like back row removal for floodgates. Like, I don't know, Evenly can do the job. Duster can kind of do the job, but Destruction is honestly kind of starting to get outdated now, because a lot of control decks, they just have like ways to deal with Duster. And you know, the sad thing is that Duster is like a one of, right? And I guess you can at least grab copies of Lightning Storm, but let's assume the situation. you have like a pretty mid hand, you get like hand trap, like Ash Blossom end on like okay-ish board, and then your opponent like sets 5 and passes, and then you have Lightning Storm in hand now. You can't even get your own monsters off the field, and now you're getting floodgated. Good old rivalry, Tikaboo. I'd type in there can be only one, but that doesn't show up with Tikaboo. Unless you go really far down, but yeah. Pain. Nothing good comes out of that. And even if you did have like some back row removal, for example, like the evenly matched or whatever, or not evenly matched, like a Duster or a Lightning Storm. You ever heard of this card, Lord of the Heavenly Prison? You ever heard of Hugin? And a lot of people just run one of Duster, so like after Hugin protects from the Duster, assuming your Duster didn't get banished by the Runic cards, you're kind of just stuck in Floodgate land. And you probably have no way to play around like Tikaboo Rivalry, I'm assuming. Most decks wouldn't. Well, anyways, focusing up a bit more. So going second, you have to deal with floodgates, end boards, and all that. So cards like Dark Ruler No More are very vital, but when you go Dark Ruler No More, you can't really deal with your opponent just straight up FTKing you. A lot of the powerful, like, going second cards require a second turn to actually happen, surprisingly enough. So if that doesn't happen, you kind of just lose, I guess. So a high value card, I guess, might be Infinite Impermanence, but, well, because Infinite Impermanence at times can definitely turn off floodgates and such, which is pretty awesome, I guess. So, I guess in short, going first, you want to be able to consistently FTK, and then going second, you need to be able to deal with back row and be able to either OTK really efficiently or just win the duel, I guess, from that point by breaking their board so they can't, and, well, I mean, hopefully they can't recover after breaking their board, because usually people aren't afraid to commit to their end boards. Like, using 4 cards in hand to combo leaves them with, like, maybe 2 later, and if you negate one of their cards in hand, assuming it's a leftover extender they couldn't use, and they somehow do happen to draw into a starter, which they already used like maybe 1 or 2 for their combo. So unlikely, it should be unlikely for them to draw into a starter most of the time. And I'm not just talking about Sprite starter, I mean just starters. In general, of course, they should probably, a lot of decks can't recover well now. Sprite actually doesn't recover that well. So if you like Raigeki Sprite, they have to go into a Link 2 or higher monster off of the IP, if they have an IP, and then the rest of their board will be destroyed, and if they're playing Runic, they can't even attack you to clear whatever monster you put on the board, and you can just pass back and forth, and they probably won't draw anything meaningful or useful. If they draw, like, any Sprite card, it's going to be useless. They could just normal summon it for no effect. It'll just be pretty cardboard, basically. So, yeah. The theoretical best deck is going to be one that just FTKs, and that's something that really has me like, well, I don't know. So the thing about FTKing being better than endboards is simply because then your opponent doesn't even get a shot to play. Like, you can break an endboard, but like, if you get FTK'd, it's just done, game over. Simply put, I guess. So this has been dragging on for a while, so I'll end the video here, I guess, and yeah, if there was a really efficient FTK and the deck that does that FTK can go second, I guess that would be the best deck in Master Duel overall. Because even if you make like the end board that uses Cyberstein with what's it called? The Psychic Equip spell or whatever. With Reproducus, even if you make an end board using that, that is quite a commitment and it dies to one hand trap, but if there was an efficient FTK that you could do that can play through hand traps, for example, like with sprite levels of resistance to hand traps as an FTK and board break, like dinos, I guess, then that would be the best deck in Master Duel. It would not necessarily be fun to play against or anything like that, but yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video. And any strategy like that would get banned out anyways, so if someone bothered to come up with a deck that was capable of this, like, all of the keycards would be banned or limited instantly, rendering the strategy, like, unplayable, basically. So yeah, bye guys.